Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another week of More Than a Statistic. I'm your host. My name is Justin Griffin. I'm 11 years clean, and I'm excited to bring you another message from a special place to this podcast. The lady here today is because of just God's intertwine in our mission, along with connecting us to other people. Um, I interviewed Miss Birch here. Miss Birch introduced me to Marty. I fell in love with Marty. And while I was down here bringing some clothes, she told me, I have somebody that I have to get you to meet. She's like, you have to meet this woman. She just she thought the world of you. And, through that, I got to talking to each other. I started following what she does, and she started following what I do. And that went on to me getting to attend an event for the billboards. I'll let her do the talking on that. I don't want to take away from that. But I'm just thankful for the relationships that God's building just out of my calling to get on here and record talking, just so people don't think they're by themselves in this mission. So I'll turn it over to you. I'll allow you to say who you are, and give your story and what we're doing here.
I'm Sharon, kids, and I'm here because I lost my son February the 3rd, 2022, to a fentanyl substance, illicit fentanyl substance poisoning. And I just want to tell his story in hopes that it will be heard and that someone will be helped from it. Mainly will probably be reading a lot, but Dustin was everything to me. He was my only child, and he was 44. And we go way back to when it was real stigma and real shame, and he dealt with mental illness, which led him to drug addiction. And I'm not for sure which one was the worst, because if he wasn't using, the medication wasn't right. They would play around with it. They'd give him what they said, we're going to try a new cocktail. Well, the one that really, the cocktail they gave him, and he was Adderall, Valium, and Topamax, or Trazodone, something like that. They gave him the three, and wow, did I think it was going to help? But he didn't like the Valium because he didn't like to be down because of his mental illness, bipolar, and anxiety, and ADHD. He wanted to be up because he was already down from the mental illness part. The mental illness part made him feel different than the other kids. He felt like he didn't fit in, but he did. But that's what he thought. But then he started taking his cocktail, they called it, to give to him. Well, he didn't like the Valium, and he didn't like the Trazodone, but he sure liked the Adderall. And he would hide the Valium or whatever he would do with it, and the other, or say he'd tuck it. I did try to watch, but as you all know, you can't watch a kid that's already 18, and kids are slick. they're good, but and Dustin did smoke pot before 18, and I'm sure that kind of had something to do with leading on the mental illness too. But he started taking the Adderall, and it wasn't one Adderall, it was 2 Adderalls, it was 3 Adderalls, and then I finally caught, like, medicine, because I noticed the difference of, I noticed the difference when he was taking the right amount to the extra amount to being out. And he finally confessed that, because Dustin was very honest. I mean, I got one of the Knoxville City judges right now that sent me tele PM not too long ago how he had met Dustin, how honest my son was, and he valued that. But he confessed that he was taking the Adderall more. So when we went back to one of the mental health facilities here, um, they took him off of it. So that led him to the street. And from there, we struggled because he would get in a little trouble, and they would take like a little something would be done that wasn't really anything, like taking a hockey puck from the hockey game where they give them out, and someone that was with him wanted him to be punished for it because he went down and picked it up. And we went to court for that. You know, this is at a, juvenile age. And the judge said, what in the world is this case even doing here? But we struggled with a lot of stigma, a lot of shame, because you didn't have mental illness. You were either just an unruly, mean, or you wasn't gonna live. That, yeah, Dustin did do that, but that wasn't part of the mental illness. Plus, I fought myself because we lost his father when he was 19 months old, and I went through my own demons, my own struggles. So, by seeing that too, I just want to be honest because I think honesty is what really is going to be the key to getting education, prevention out there, because we're not talking about our 44, 58, 22, 30-year-olds anymore. We're talking about 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and not only that, but we have addicted parents now that are taking it home with them, that have small babies, and the small babies are finding it.
Some 18-month-old the other day that happened to.
Yes, and it's. I am in a group. This is Dustin, and I'm with the drug epidemic, and I started with them in 2022 when they probably had 2,000 members or 2,000 in the poster board started. They now have over, I think, 10, 12,000 of the posters. They have the banner that is in Washington, D.C. on the wall of all the people that has not just died from fentanyl poisoning, it is fentanyl overdose, it's drug-induced homicide. I mean, there's a lot of groups out there that has helped me. And Carol Egan, who is the head, and she just passed, has put me in the baby group. And I'm a healer. And that's what I am. And also, Facing Fentanyl. Carol hooked me up with Facing Fentanyl, who has told me a lot about, the fentanyl, the illicit fentanyl. And I know the verbiage is different sometimes. It don't really matter about that. Not a one of these kids wanted to die. Not a one of them. Yes. My son was in recovery, and I got pictures right here to show you through his recovery, some of them, most of them. 3.5 years that I know that he stayed clean. Now, I'm not saying he might have not taken a drink. I don't know, okay? But I never seen that. He went to meetings. He gave back. did all of those things uh, to help himself and to help other people, to let them know there is help. Um, Dustin was a Christian, okay, and he found God close. He got closer to God. He didn't find God. He already loved Jesus, but he got closer, and that was the walk with all of the other tools through the recovery that he had. But God was the main thing, okay? And he got his CDL license. You know, he did so much for himself to better himself, you know. And Dustin was adventurous. He loved to swim. He swam in the ocean as far out as he could go. He loved to camp. He liked to hunt. He loved skateboarding. He never gave that up. But he had asked to go in to be a motivation speaker and everything with people. Dustin was very intelligent. But he's almost like Asperger, like not autistic. Yeah. But because I guess of the medications, which would make him feel worse sometimes, or he would like and take more of, and then the addiction, okay, and the medicine wasn't working, or then you could see that span, you know. And I just want to say that addiction didn't define who my son was. If you ever met my son Dustin, you would never forget him. Okay? I mean, he would light up a room. He was like all of our other children that we lost, or all of our other addicts. I mean, he could make you laugh, make you cry, or you could get a little, he could scare you a little bit, okay? Because sometimes that drug, you know, when you would be, I guess, needing the drug, he would, like, really kind of get manic-y and loud. And we had arguments, we had disagreements, we had fusses. I called the law on him. I did everything I could. But he always wanted, he'd always tell me, if a policeman showed up, what was funny, he'd go, son, what's wrong? I mean, you go, it ain't me, it's her. And so, they go, Mom, what's going on? And then they normally say, can you get him a motel room for tonight, or what? But Dustin did get in trouble. And he did do time in prison. And he got out, he paid his dues to society. He owed them nothing. He only owed himself, you know, and he did really, really great. For 3.5 years that I know of, 7 months, and one of our last conversations, next to the last conversations, is we were talking about how good he looked and how great he was doing. You know, being a mother, you always say, don't you get, you know, don't go nowhere, you know. And I said, don't ever, he told me, he said, Mom, I can't promise that because I do it one day at a time, just for today. And with him, it was a struggle with mental illness and addiction. But all I know, and I didn't know, I still don't know everything, except I got the autopsy report, but I was told that someone showed up at his door at 4:30 in the morning, didn't know they were coming, they needed a place for some reason to stay, and my son being who he is, of course, come on in, you're welcome, you know, and they ended up bringing drugs. And why he chose to trust him and to do it. I'll never know why. I don't know what was going on, if something had happened, but I just know I got a phone call at 901 at night. They said he's gone, and didn't know really, heard so many different stories, how this, what that, what he took, what he didn't take, if he took anything, you know, until I got the autopsy back, and it was a substance laced with illicit fentanyl and toxicity, is how it says. And I've been brokenhearted. I lost my whole heart. Lost it. None of them, and he did not deserve to die. He did not take something knowingly to kill himself. It was giving something that he did not know he was taking. He thought it was ecstasy. I feel guilt that I didn't do things younger in his age. Because he was a beautiful, angelic child, and he's just a beautiful person, a beautiful heart. And he would give you the shirt off his back. And he did. And he did. Can I just kind of reflect back to, I'm not one of these people that speak very well in front of people. I get but I just want to read this. And I do have different purposes that I'm going to on myself for my healing. But I just want to read this. It might help, and I won't be wandering and scattering with you all. My son, Dustin, was a beautiful person with a big heart. Just like I said, he would give you the shirt off his back to help someone in need. He always owned and accepted his own mistakes. He never put them on anyone else. He was honest. He was too honest sometimes. He was naive too. I wanted to share his story to help others know that they're not alone in these struggles, in their struggle. If you're feeling different or struggling with mental illness or addiction, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Seek help. If it's recovery, mental illness, go to meetings, do recovery work, because you are a good person, just as my son was a good person, deserving of love and respect. No matter what mistakes you've made, you deserve that, and you deserve a lot. 4 long lost years and no phone calls, hugs, seeing his smile, creating memories with the family and friends. Loving him physically was a blessing. I pray no one ever feels this pain inside my heart. Not even the drug dealers that took your life and gave you a substance with illicit fentanyl poisoning. Shame on them that took your life, and those have chose to be cowards of friends. Lesson to be learned from Dustin's death is choose your friends wisely. Seek help for therapy, and do not be ashamed for what has happened in your life. You are not the only one in life that has hardships and struggles. There is help and hope, and Dustin had a lot of hope. to move past trauma in life. Drugs and alcohol are not the answer. It's only a band-aid to a temporary fix. Teach your children, educate your children about addictive behaviors. Because if it's in the family, more than likely, it's going to be handed down. Don't give up on someone. Love them. Support them. I'm not saying enable them, but always support. Always show love. The world we live in today, our children cannot take even one pill, one chance, one line, one toke, whatever, shot, marijuana. Stay away from drugs. The odds are very high that you will die. Do not trust anyone that you take anything from unless it's prescribed for you. Dustin was educated. He knew better, but he was too trusting. That's what hurts me the most. And if you're a parent of a child, please set as good example as you can. Please get help. If you're struggling in any addiction or mental health or trauma, take them to church. They deserve to know the unconditional love of God. Leaving a legacy of hope despite imperfection is not about showing that anyone can make a positive impact regardless of their flaws. It's about the resilience and the determination to rise above challenges and inspire others to do that. Dustin did that. He did that. He did overcome that one day. He did. Your story can be a powerful reminder that it's not about being perfect, but about being present and genuine and honest in the face of adversity. That's what I have to say. I've cried a lot of tears. I still cry a lot of tears. Like I said, my son was my whole life. And as a lot of mothers, I isolated for almost 2 years. And I still, to this day, isolate. But I'm getting better. And I will look for more community groups, but there's not very many community groups. There is some grief groups, and I've been to them. I've been to 3. I either wasn't ready at that time. They helped some, but not much. The thing is to keep giving hope to people, because as the mother before me said, as long as you're breathing, there's hope. And my son would do that to everybody. When he would come down here in the mission sometimes, he would pray with you. He would give you hope. He prayed for you and he prayed for himself. So let's try to be kinder to one another, more loving. But let's realize we're living in a world now. This is real. The thing that's saving most of our loved ones, our children, is because we got this. We got this right here. Please carry it. Please don't think when someone tries to hand you this that we're assuming you're a drug addict or a not good person, as most people think most addicts are. They're great people. They're we're more loving than some of the church people. But please carry Narcan. Take it. It's not for you always. It might be for that poor soul out there that's 14 years old and peer pressure got them to take a pill or something. And you got it. You could save their life. And that's what we're supposed to do. Educate, prevent, and save lives. Thank you.
You want to talk about the billboards?
Oh, yes. I do billboards. I am not, I'm the lead with billboards. And other mothers started billboards long before me. And I got into it, putting my son on it to bring awareness. And they do bring awareness. And only thing is I think that we have to pay for a spot on those billboards. And my thing is, I think our opiate settlement money that's out there with the resources that are, putting it into recovery, putting it in mental illness, putting it, doing things. I think that, and they do events and stuff, which they help with that. But if you're a 501, C3, S3, something like that, they'll help with that. But I have asked and asked for help, and I get no reply, no answer. We're not asking you to give us millions of dollars. You can't give us money for our kids' life. I don't want money for my kids' life. I want to bring awareness through the billboards, through events, through any way we can get the word out, awareness in schools, churches, jails, where you need Narcan, to save lives. To save lives. You don't know what God's got in store for you, and we don't know what God's got in store for them. So the billboards, I do them. I go, I do them in Knoxville. I did about 6 or 7 in Knoxville. I've done a few out of town. I'll be going to one in Nashville for another mother. That's her daughter is Reagan. She's 16, and we're gonna have 30 people on this billboard. It's a digital, but if you do see us with billboards, please come out, because you can bring a picture of your loved one. I mean, we can spread awareness. You wouldn't believe some of the awareness we've gotten out with billboards. And it's saving lives. And I did one with Rachel's Angels this last time and Dustin's Hope. And that's just support, any kind of awareness to get out there. Just support it. And if the opiate settlement people are listening, it would be very nice if you would consider some of us grieving parents, maybe to have something. I'm sure there's something out there that we can get grants to go to a grief counselor, but some of the grief counselors, they're not necessarily a parent, a sibling, a grandmother. They might be grieving another way. And grief is grief, I understand that. But when you lose your only child or your child, I don't wish it on them. So, I don't really have much more to say. I just appreciate Justin inviting me, letting me try to get my message out of what I'm about. I do want to emphasize this. I do not knock if you you say overdose, you say poisoning, but I do not like to go to where I'm told it's overdose. It's not poisoning. I accept people's, what they say, that if they believe it's overdose, I accept that. That's, that's you. That's not me. But I know for me, and I know a lot of other parents, and I say around 500 and something thousand parents plus, children that we've lost, fentanyl's been in there, whether they were doing it. And my son didn't do fentanyl. My son was a stimulant person. I'm not saying that the last week or so I wasn't around him. I was around him, but I never heard him even mention the words. I never heard of fentanyl, illicit fentanyl, until my son heard of fentanyl pharmaceutical. My niece is a nurse practitioner. I did hear that, but never illicit. And if you're putting stuff in drugs anyway, stuff in anything to get to anybody that they don't know about, that's poison. No, that's just what it is. But I don't knock, and I hate to use that word because I feel like I've been knocked a lot by saying, no, it's poisoning. So I don't attend a lot of things because I feel very uncomfortable because I usually take Facing Fentanyl's banners with me. I take Carol and Drug Epidemic banner with me. One that I hope we could get up. That's another thing the opiate settlement could do, is help us put this in the state of Tennessee. All the Tennessee angels that we lost, whether it be illicit fentanyl, poisoning, overdose, drug-induced. It would be nice to get a little help for some of the grieving people out here so that we don't travel to DC or Virginia to see our child on the fentanyl museum wall. We got it here that we can go locally and visit our child. Because we don't have thousands of dollars to make these trips, but we'll work and save it to get there. But thank you for letting me rattle.
It's okay.
And
do you want to tell them about the Facebook page?
I do have a page. I just started it about September, I believe. I've been wanting to set up something for Dustin to remember him by, and I just nothing. The grief was too strong, and one day I was sitting there and I was really down, and I heard him say, "Get your shoes on, Mama. You got hope. We got the hope. Go out. There's hope. There's hope." And I can't explain how it came to me. It wasn't like he came to me in my mind and my heart. And I sat and I thought, that's all he said. Well, there's hope. There's always hope. We've always got hope, Mama. We always got hope. And so I named it Dustin's Legacy of Hope. And as I said here, most people think that when you leave a legacy of something, it has to be money, it has to be something grand you did, or something like that. You really don't. You don't have to be perfect. Okay? You can leave a legacy. And one of the last things that Dustin wrote, and I do want to, can I get it?
Sure.
Have it. Oh, do want to also, I got bear out. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not all together at times. Never have been really.
Me neither.
But I'm real. I'm honest. I love Jesus. That's another thing I'm getting ready to do is to go in. Well, I'm already approved with Living in Freedom Ministries, and please check their Facebook out. Okay, support them. To go in behind the walls to incarcerated women to give them hope. Okay, and right now I'm supposed to be at a meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock to be an ambassador also. We're down to like fundraise and do things like that. And I will say, if you don't know Jesus, seek him out. And this is what my son wrote about 8 to 10 months before he passed. And I put it on his, where you put the verse when they put out the, I don't know what you call it. But anyway, for his celebration, I put his own verse in, and it says, if there's one thing I can leave as my legacy from here on earth, when I pass on into bliss, he always had a different word for everything, but it's heaven. One day is that I inspired people to seek out God and know just how good God is. Have a beautiful day. Dustin. And I do that every day that some days are harder. God knows that. And hadn't been for God, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
We really appreciate having you and for being so open and sharing about something that's so hard to talk about, but I'm glad you're called and I'm thankful to have met you and become a I'm just grateful for everything.
I'm very grateful for you, and I'm very grateful for you too. As I said, I'm not a speaker.
Yeah, neither am I.
I'm just your normal lay, everyday average. I'm still a mama. I'm still a mama that wants to just help people and love on people and show them that there is a better way. There is hope. And there'll always be that. Reach out. And I'm so proud of you for doing this in 11 years. It's awesome.
And it's all because of him too. Same Savior there. A lot of in your story he's talking about the mental illness and the high fire. I don't think my mind works like everybody else's around me either. And the dope in the beginning quietened that for me, and I'm sure that that's what it did for him. And until the voice switched, and then it becomes, it's the one that shuts them all up, but then it becomes the only one talking at some point. And it's a terrifying place to live, but someone that's lived there. I hate that it happened that way, and it's not fair. When I was coming out of school, they were real big about don't do drugs because you can die the first time. And back then it was kind of more far-fetched than what it is today, but that's not the case anymore. There's several people that's not doing it at all. You can simply come into contact with this stuff and it can kill you. And it's just completely unfair that while we shouldn't be out in the street seeking it, we should have never been so openly given it in the first place to start this. And then to have it taken away to where that is the only other option. I think that, that's a tool Satan itself too in the design of this addiction. I'm thankful that he knew Jesus. And I don't get to hear that in every story. And I'm grateful for you as a mom to know that, hey, my son might have did something wrong, but I know where he is now, and that he believed that also. And I just, like I said, I'm thankful that I met you, and I'm grateful that you were part of this. So thank you so much.
Can I say one other
Sure.
thing? Because I forgot. This is what I care. This is my Dustin. This is what I have. Take a good look at it. But I also wanted to. This is Bear. This is Miss Marty at Care Cuts Ministries that does so much work for our unhoused, our addicts, our mentally ill. She is here. I mean, Marty just keeps going and keeps smiling with it. But Bear was like Marty's son. And Marty knows a little bit of knowing addiction and well, she knows a lot. With Bear, she knows the mental illness and addiction. She also, before Bear was found in an alley from fentanyl, he was in recovery. She got him in recovery. He was in recovery, I think, over a year or more. But I just want to thank Miss Marty and Care Cuts for letting us come down here. And never forget Bear. We never forget anybody. They were a human being. I don't care what life they lived. God loves them.
All right, guys. Well, we hope that you enjoy this episode. Let's say enjoy. I hope you get something from this episode. Now let's keep up the mission. Let's keep up awareness. Let's go out and educate people. If God's been pushing you to do something, try it, because you know the blessings that I get back off of this and the healing that it does to me is reciprocating, like earlier one said. It seems to make its way back around, and it really helps me out doing the same, as I'm sure that this helps you.
Yes.
So, like I said, we're going to keep it up, and we're going to keep doing it until this stuff's gone. We love y'all, and we hope that you come back next time. Thank you.
Thank you.